The mafia.
Lunacy.
It's the mafia.
It is the mafia.
It's a whole bunch of mafias that joined up together. It's the gay mafia, the Jew mafia, the black mafia, all the socialists, everything, the Catholic mafia, all of them, the socialist mafia, just trying to rip everybody off and put everybody who goes, wait a minute, in friggin' jail. It's the Nazis joined up with the fucking Stalinists, joined up with the fundamentalists, joined up with the freakazoid baby blood pedophiles, and we're supposed to put up with this shit.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Morid. And poor rich kids get their money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got the good.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy back again with the news. Yeah. Hey, so it's a lot going on as usual. And many of y'all may have heard, but it's a lot of protests going on across different college campuses all over America, right? Some may even say international, but for a fact, it's going on here in America. So when I first saw it going on, I ain't really paying too much attention because we don't know what this could be, right? It's always some so-called stage protest, and sometimes the media just makes it out to be something that is really not. But then over the day, it kept gaining traction. So I said, man, let's really see what's going on. We got to bring this to the people and bring this to the congregation and see what's up, man. So we're going to start like we always do. We're going to take it over there to the other side. Let's get an update. See what the word is on the streets, and then we're going to come back and we're going to chop it up like always. So, hey, appreciate all y'all who've been tapping in for the content, leaving your comments. Your commentary is definitely appreciated. All right, so let's go and get over here to it, and we're going to do what we do.
And encampments against the war in Gaza are continuing for a second week in the US. They're demanding their universities drop financial ties to Israel. Well, we have a team of correspondents covering this story for us in the US. In a moment, we'll be live to New York with John Hendren. But first, let's go to Ellen Fisher, who's at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C., where students from at least 8 universities have joined the 4th day of protests. And Ellen, I know it's Sunday there. I imagine it's usually relatively quiet on campus. Can you just explain what is happening there now?
Well, let me give you an idea of what it looks like here. You've seen the pictures over the last 3 or 4 days, and you've seen the hundreds of students that come here to protest. The things have slightly changed, and Sunday morning is maybe the best time to give you an idea of what this looks like. If you look out onto the college yard, when this protest started on Thursday, that was entirely covered by people who came here to voice their support. Overnight on Saturday, Friday into Saturday, they put up the metal barrier to split the yard and to contain the protests. Now, if you move further around with the camera, you will see that there are still tents in the yard. There's probably about 20 students who are there. A number of them have left over the last 72 hours or so when they were told that there was the possibility they could lose their university housing. They could possibly not graduate. They might lose credits for the term that's just happened. And so a number of them decided at that point they were going to leave. Now, the university asked the Metropolitan Police, which is the main police service here in Washington, D.C., to help clear the yard on Friday. But the Metropolitan Police decided that they weren't going to do that. The protests were very peaceful, and they didn't think the optics of forcibly removing people who were protesting peacefully would play well, not just here in Washington, D.C., but around the world. But what has happened is there's now almost like a second protest in the street, which has been sealed off by the police. And you can see the camps and the tents that have been set up here. People have been spending the night sleeping in those tents in support of those inside. And the demands really do remain the same, although each of of the 8 or so universities that are represented here have their own individual items that they want to see addressed by their institution. Generally speaking, they all agree on a number of things. They want to make sure that every asset that is possibly linked to Israel is divested, that there are no continuing academic links between the US, these universities and Israel as well. They want to make sure that those who organised the protest will face an amnesty, that they will not be face any sort of disciplinary action as well. And they want to make sure that pro-Palestinian speech on these campuses will not be penalised in any way, that it will be allowed, because there have been a number of complaints that as soon as you talk in pro-Palestinian terms, you're immediately described as being anti-Semitic, and they want to make sure that that is taken care
Don't that sound familiar? Keep listening.
of by the authorities. Now, a couple of the administrators from George Washington have been in the square in the last couple of hours. They've spoken to some of the people in the courtyard, but those that are here say what they said way back on Thursday. Until their demands are met, they're not moving.
Okay, thanks so much, Ellen. We really appreciate that. Ellen Fisher for us there at George Washington University.
So this George Washington University, so they basically, this is the side that's on the pro-Palestinian side, right? Because you got both. I've been seeing a little bit of, well, I ain't gonna say a little bit of both. You have the pro-Palestinian side seems to be the biggest, because you have people from the Jewish community, these young students who are also supporting it too. So it's gaining a lot of traction. Like, they really not playing out here, but let them keep talking, because they're going to break down. So it's just one school.
Well, this is day 4 of protests at the City University of New York. On day 1, campus police tried to shut it down and protesters pushed them back. Let's bring in John Hendren, who is at the City University now. And John, this protest site specifically remains under constant threat of being shut down. Can you just explain exactly why that is?
That's right. Here on the first day, on Thursday, when they set up this camp, campus police came in and tried to shut it down, tried to tear down the tents. Students pushed them back. And these are the most fearless protesters of all of the campuses we've been at. And there's good reason for that. This is City University of New York. Unlike elite institutions like those Alan was talking about, where tuition can be $60,000, $70,000 a year, and students are worried about losing the education they've dreamed of and tens of thousands of dollars, tuition here is at a more democratic level, small d, at about $6,000. And so most of the students we see here, unlike at Princeton, where we were yesterday, where students were masking their faces and trying to abide by all the university's rules, here they're not doing that. When the security came in just the other day, there was a security guard here on Friday, and he was just trying to enter this space, and students blocked him off from doing so. And you can see there's a constant police presence here. That is a light stand which police have set up, presumably if they want to clear this place out at night to light it up. And if you look across the street, you can see those are campus police positioned there. So there's a constant presence here, but unlike at other campuses where students are very concerned about whether they're going to be kicked out and whether they're going to lose their status at the university, here they're pretty much fearless. These students, by and large, don't wear masks. They push back on security when they come, and they're intent on staying here. You can see these tents are in defiance of university policy, but they're remaining in place. So here at City University of New York, you have a very aggressive and confident protest presence, and they're not going to allow security to come in here. Now, if the New York Police Department comes in, that's a whole different story. And that could happen here, unlike other campuses, because it's run by the City of New York. So Mayor Eric Adams, if he decided to, could override any concerns by the university and send police in here to shut this place down.
And that's probably what's going to happen.
And 200 people have been arrested over the past 24 hours at Washington University in St. Louis, Northeastern University in Boston. So that's a constant threat everywhere. But here it's a particular threat because the city itself could decide to shut this place down. So far, protesters have resisted all attempts.
Okay, thank you so much for all of that. That is John Hendren for us there in New York. Well, we're going to stay with this story, and Melanie Cammett.
Okay, so before they get to her, so basically he's broken down in several different campuses in multiple states. You got people getting arrested. So the narrative has already been set. And they said at the major universities, like the Princetons, the Harvards, whatever, those folks, he was saying it was a difference in the way the protesting was happening. And in those schools, they wanted to cover their face, right? They were scared of getting kicked out, this, that, and the third. Also, this could have been the staging. This could have been the kickoff. You never know. This has happened before, right? But then they're saying like these so-called lower level schools, they all out with it, right? They ain't hiding. They really letting it be known what they stand for. We're going to get to some of that because I want you to hear what they got to say. But let's hear what she's saying, because what she got to bring to it is very important.
Is a professor of international affairs at Harvard University. She joins us from New York. Thank you very much for being with us on Al Jazeera. Now, we heard our correspondents there talking about the pressure that has been placed on the protesters, on these students that are speaking out. But how has the government, especially Congress, been putting pressure on the universities themselves during these protests? And what impact is that having?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. There's a larger game going on here in which members of Congress are weaponizing this fight to try to control university life and are threatening sanctions such as taxing university endowments or withholding federal funding for research, which could have a very serious impact on universities. So beyond the relationship between protesters and university administrations, we have a second level playing out between Congress, the U.S. government, and university administrations as well.
Are those just idle threats, or is that a serious concern for these universities?
These are very serious concerns, regardless of how you feel about the protests and university reactions. These are extremely serious concerns because there's a large amount of federal funding that supports research across campuses in the United States, and endowments play an extremely important role in funding the operations of universities. So these are serious threats that university administrators are very concerned about. And so the actions of Congress are not just, political efforts to exert Congress's control over academic freedom or free speech, but they also potentially may be serious threats with material implications.
We've seen a range of tactics used by different university administrations around the United States when it comes to trying to break up these protests. I mean, what do you think has worked so far, and how do you think that universities should be handling them?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty clear that repression doesn't work in this case. And we actually know this from political science research, that under many conditions, repressing protests and mobilization actually backfires and causes activists to double down.
Bingo. So this is why I say the ones that initially popped off at your Princeton, Harvard, them could have been the staging, knowing that if other students see this, they're going to react and do their own thing, which is going to be more grassroots. So the plan of controlled chaos or planned opposition is they plant what they want to happen first, knowing that people are reactive. You get what I'm saying? So they can get the response that was needed. However, I feel like good conversations are coming from this. So let's break down what she was saying, because that part was very important. She said there's multiple layers at play here. You got the pressure from the Congress, you got pressure from the school administration, and then you got rich donors, which leads to the title that it influences this and well. But none of this is new, fam. Rich, so-called rich people have always had their hands in education for one reason or another. Now, I'm just your homeboy with the news, pointing you to the game. Now, if you want to get into a deeper dive with history, every Sunday we do a podcast. This is what we doing this for, to lead you to the water. You feel me? So check this out. None of this is new. These same tactics, they've been running this, right? So let's go do a little history at the University of Columbia and just protest history with these colleges in general. And then let's chop that up, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts. Now, in the comments, let me know what y'all think, man.
At Columbia University, a reflection of history repeating itself. So just to recap, on April 17, Columbia University students started protesting by building encampments inside the campus in solidarity with Palestine's Gaza. The university's president, Minouche Shafiq, said the students violated multiple campus rules and called in the New York Police Department. Police engaged in a massive crackdown on the protesters, making over 100 arrests and igniting larger protests nationwide. Now, some view the protest as freedom of expression, while others tag it anti-Semitic, including the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson.
Anti-Semitism has been growing in America, and it's clear why.
Interestingly, while many Jewish students who participated in the protest condemned Zionism, some Jewish faculty members also opposed the weaponization of accusations of anti-Semitism. Classes shifted online shortly after Jewish businessman Robert Kraft, the university's biggest donor, announced suspended donations. Kraft had previously come under several sex trafficking charges and is an active AIPAC donor, but that would require another video. So what are the protesting students demanding?
Number 1, call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Number 2, to disclose all financial investments in Zionist organizations. Number 3, to divest from those organizations. Number 4, to drop all charges against students for disciplinary actions.
They also vow to continue protesting until their demands are met. But this isn't a first at Columbia University. In 1968, Columbia University students staged 2 demonstrations. They staged anti-war protests against Columbia University's involvement in the Vietnam War, demanding that the university divest from the war and cease research for the Institute for Defense Analysis after a student discovered documents in the university library revealing the school's affiliations. They also protested the controversial acquisition of land in Morningside Park, where African Americans were evicted to make way for a community gym, primarily for Columbia students with segregated access for residents. The protests lasted more than a week. More than 1,000 police were deployed and over 700 arrests were made. Students refused to end the protest until their demands were met. The university eventually yielded to these demands after students used various protest methods such as boycotting classes, disrupting graduation ceremonies, and occupying university buildings. In 1985, Columbia and University of California, Berkeley students, led by the Coalition for a Free South Africa, demanded their respective universities divest from companies linked to apartheid in South Africa. Following ongoing protests, a 6-member panel was established which ultimately voted to withdraw investments from apartheid South Africa. And today, amid Israel's indiscriminate bombardment of besieged Gaza, Columbia University students carry on the legacy of their predecessors once again to stand against war, discrimination, and the killing of innocents. So will the students prevail, and will their demands be met?
So what they gonna do? The demands ain't seem too crazy to me. I'm just saying, and there's been a spirit of protest within the youth, within colleges, because those supposed to be the scholars and the intellectuals, right? Wouldn't it make sense for them to care about these issues, and if they feel like something is wrong, that they gonna use their voice? So I applaud them for even caring enough about what's going on to take a stand, either side, really. But if you're gonna get to the facts of the matter, why is it that this community, the Jewish community, can't nobody say a word about these folks, bro? What did they do? Like, let's keep it real here, right? We can talk real, right? We autonomous over here. So we talking black people, they can be tarnished and talked about in the media. If we talking white people, they can be tarnished and talked about in the media, right? Okay. Even now, our Mexican brothers and sisters, hey, you got y'all, they gonna call you the immigrants, the border hoppers, and all this here, right? And all that's supposed to be cool. You may get a little buck back and all that, but when you talking about this Jewish community, boy, you mention them, they'll get you out of here. Get your whole career canceled and the whole night, and you don't have to be disrespectful. You could just come with some criticism. Now, I'm trying to figure out how they got that much power over the rest of the citizens in this same country. That don't make no sense to me, bro. So we're going to break down and get to a little bit of why that is, but I just find that funny that you got, just for these folks doing peaceful protests and speaking out against something, they got schools talking about taking away their scholarships, kicking them out of the school, arresting them. And then you got people like your Robert Kraft who like, I ain't going to donate no more money when y'all talking this way, and literally just talking. They ain't doing nothing crazy. You see what I'm saying? So they exercising their American right to protest and for free speech to speak on what they feel. Obviously, there's been a history of this, so they ain't doing nothing that's out of the norm. But I want to ask y'all don't find that suspicious about that? It seems like all the freedoms that we supposed to enjoy in this so-called free country is always been imposed upon by the powers that be. But I'm just your homeboy with the news. Y'all might say I'm tripping. Let me know in the comments. I'm just thinking with an autonomous perspective. Like, check this out. We're going to go to a commercial break real quick. Then we're going to come back and see what the White House got to say. Because you know they had to speak on this. They was putting that pressure on that White House, man. So we're going to check out the White House comments. And then we're going to get to why this particular community has so much power within our current government. But we'll be right back in a quick second, y'all. And we're going to get to it now.
Niggas, the top 5 lister, double S drifter, separate sipping, and you know I came with it. If she cute with it,
All right, y'all, we back. So check it out. White House, they had to speak on it. I want y'all to hear this segment where the reporter starts asking about the protests and what is the White House view on this. So y'all check this out, man.
And then here at home, there's been some dramatic images really across the country over the last 24, 48 hours, especially at the Columbia, UCLA last night, University of Madison, Wisconsin, other campuses. Has the president been monitoring this? And why have we not heard directly from the president about these protests that have taken over institutions of
What Joe be at, bro? What do he be?
higher learning across the country, the police responses, instances of violence? Why have we not heard directly from the president?
So just a couple of things. The president is being kept regularly updated on what's happening. As you just stated, across the country, he is monitoring the situation closely. So is his team. And
he ain't monitoring shit.
I would just add that no president has spoken more forcefully about combating anti-Semitism than this president. Let's not forget, in 2017, he was very clear what we saw, the anti-Semitic vile that we saw in Charlottesville, on the streets of Charlottesville. He called that out. And one of the reasons he stepped into the 2020 election is because of what he saw, is because he wanted to speak out and speak against what we were seeing in this country at that time. Democracy was under attack. Our freedoms were under attack, and we're still fighting for that today, obviously. But he hasn't just done that by speaking. As you heard from my topper, he's taken action. He's taken action by moving forward with the first ever U.S. national strategy to counter anti-Semitism. More than 100 new actions were introduced, obviously, in that strategy. And that is
more than 100. Y'all remember that.
How seriously this president takes it. And I think what's important here is that he's taken action on this issue.
And just quickly, does the president support those police clearing operations like we saw in New York? We've seen some of these other college campuses.
Look, we've been very clear on that. Americans have the right to peacefully protest. They have the right to peacefully protest as long as it's within the law and that it's peaceful. Forcibly taking over a building is not peaceful. It's just not. Students have the right to feel safe. They have the right to learn. They have the right to do this without disruption. And they have a right to feel safe on campus, as I just said. They have a right to attend their commencement without feeling unsafe. And what we're seeing is a small percentage of students. That's what we're seeing. They should not be able to disturb or disrupt the academic experience.
See, this how they be. This how they be doing that double talk. If it's a small percentage of students, how they gonna disrupt these big ass campuses? Come on now, let's talk real now. What they saying don't even make no sense. Why do they need all this attention as far as negative backlash from the administration if it's just a small percentage? They can't possibly cause that much mayhem. When we looking at the news, when they was breaking it down, these folks out there intense just with posters and stuff. They ain't got guns and shooting and none of that. Come on, man. They don't even sound right.
The right to choose is fundamental. The right to peacefully protest, as long as it's within the law and that it's peaceful. Forcibly taking over a building is not peaceful. It's just not. Students have the right to feel safe. They have the right to learn. They have the right to do this without disruption. And they have a right to feel safe on campus, as I just said. They have a right to attend their commencement without feeling unsafe. And what we're seeing is a small percentage of students. That's what we're seeing. They should not be able to disturb or disrupt the academic experience that students have. So, look, that's how we see things. It is important that students and communities feel safe here. And at the same time, we are going to be really forceful here and continue to underscore how anti-Semitism is hateful speech. It is wrong, it is abhorrent, and we're going to continue to call that out.
Thanks, great. To follow on that, has anyone from the administration been in touch with administrators, leaders at Columbia or any of these universities that are seeing these protests?
I don't have any
Listen to this.
calls to read out at this time. Obviously, we're closely monitoring the situation. We're getting regular updates, and I'm just gonna keep it there. I just don't have anything to share as far as calls or readouts.
On another topic, has the White House?
So you see how she didn't want to talk about that. She didn't want to talk about this topic at all. Really, I watched the whole conference because it was about multiple different things, but I wanted to pull this segment out to tie it in, obviously, of the news for the day. But she really wasn't doing a good job, period. Obviously, she well spoken, but she couldn't, you could tell she didn't believe none of the things that she's saying, bro. Like, we got to keep it real, man. But you see, she's saying that it wasn't no ties to the university from the government, shell, none of the sort. However, we can easily put it two and two together and show how that ain't true. So for those of y'all who don't know, the part that she was telling the truth about is this administration has been taking action to further protect. Now, they're not the only administration to ever do this, but the way in which they're approaching this is definitely pretty aggressive. So I wanted to read y'all something. Y'all know we read over here, right? So I got some. We're going to take it over to the Congress website. I want y'all to see something real quick because, we got to understand what we're dealing with and make sure we really talking from a knowledgeable vantage point. We ain't just saying no anything, right? So we're going to read from this new HR bill that was introduced. And I want y'all to check it out. We're going to read it together like we always do. And then I want to know what y'all think. All right, so let me get it pulled up on screen 3. All right, so HR 6090, Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023. So the sponsor was Michael Lawler out of New York, introduced in 2023. So it's basically, it was introduced in 2023, but the latest action is on the 2nd, May 2nd, it's at the Senate now. So let me read a little bit about it. All right, so HR 60, an act to provide for the consideration of a definition of anti-Semitism set forth by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance for the enforcement of federal anti-discrimination laws concerning education programs or activities and for other purposes. Let me read this one more time. All right. An act to provide for the consideration of a definition of anti-Semitism set forth by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance for the enforcement of federal anti-discrimination laws concerning education programs or activities and for other purposes. All right. So the short title is, this act may be cited as the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023. All right. So look, let's go to the basis of it. It is the sense of Congress that Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. Why is this important? This same act that they're referencing was Black people, right? Well, who were the backers and the people who were in charge of the financial side? it was this same community, the Jewish community, because they was laying the play for them to do this for themselves later on. Now, hey, call me what you want to call me, but you can't say we ain't doing our own research and homework. You go look for yourself. If you disagree, let us know in the comments. All right, so it says, while such title does not cover discrimination based solely on religion, individuals who face discrimination based on actual or perceived shared ancestry or ethnic characteristics do not lose protection under such title for also being members of a group that share a common religion. Now, this is all very interesting, y'all. All right, so discrimination against Jews may give rise to a violation of such title when the discrimination is based on race, color, or national origin, which can include discrimination based on actual or perceived shared ancestry or ethnic characteristics. So basically, they outline a lot of different ways in which and what they're trying to do. So they try to improve the safety and security for Jewish communities. They want to increase awareness and understanding of what anti-Semitism is, including its threat to America. All right, so let's go to the findings. The findings are very important. So it says that Congress finds the following. Matter of fact, let me blow this part up a little bit for y'all for the playback value. I don't want y'all to think I'm capping. So findings, Congress finds the following. Anti-Semitism is on the rise in the United States and is impacting Jewish students in K through 12 schools, colleges, and universities. People, I need y'all to talk to me. Wherever you at in the United States of America, please tell me where they bullying Jewish kids to where they can't go to school. Matter of fact, don't they normally be going to their own schools? How the hell they gonna be getting bullied by people? That don't even make no sense, bro. If somebody says something that have a negative view, but they're not being racist, right? I'm a black person. I can speak on this, right? You can speak about the black community and have a negative gripe and it not be racist. It could just be the truth or your lived experience, right? So if people saying I don't support a war and they saying that they don't support one side of this war, that don't make them anti-Israel. That make them not agree with the stance. This don't even make no sense. But why they trying to put it in the education? That's the real question. So next it says the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, referred to in this act as the IHRA. Y'all remember that term, you're going to hear it a lot. Working definition of anti-Semitism is a vital tool which helps individuals understand and identify the various manifestations of anti-Semitism. So what does this mean? It's some word salad for we trying to figure out a way to change the definition when we want to where if y'all say something we don't like, we can get on your ass. This is what they trying to do. All right, so they extending protections based on the civil rights is what they saying. They're working within the Department of Education to make sure that people are indoctrinated with this. I remember reading certain books in school. Depending on your age, you may remember this. We had to read the Diary of Anne Frank. You feel me? Everybody had to know about that. But we didn't get to know about everybody else's culture. No knock to them. This ain't against the individual, a Jewish person. This ain't against your faith. This ain't against none of that. It's about there's powers that be who so-called represent the same faith. And boy, they be having some things going on. But hey, I'm just your homeboy with the news. I would encourage y'all to go read this for yourself. Once again, this congress.gov, HR 6090. All you got to do is put it in Google. It's going to pop it right up for you. So check this out. A lot of different protests going on. You may be on either side of it. I just hope you're on the side of doing your own homework. You feel me? So look, with that being said, that's my time for the day, y'all. I appreciate y'all tapping in the comments. Let's engage. Let's have a conversation, man. And we can get to it. Oh, yeah, just like, and if we did learn about our culture, like they said in the comments, shout out God of Green, then it was false info. This is what they doing. So we got to question everything that come out, y'all, because if we didn't go research it for ourselves, we just can't take it to be fact. So with that, I'm out. Appreciate y'all like always. Y'all keep it positive, keep it pushing, man.
Whenever I start to feel alone, I just play your voice loud, and I say way before things change. Now I read the message you sent, trying to tune out when you say I know you love me, but you should just forget about us.
Like, this is all the love I had. I can't get it back, I won't get it back, Gave all the love I had. One motherfucking three, nigga. I can't get it back, I won't get it back, Can't get it back.